There comes a time in every person's journey when the ordinary world begins to reveal its extraordinary nature. Perhaps you felt it already. Those moments when coincidences seem too meaningful, when dreams carry messages, or when you sense something larger than yourself moving through your life. This is not imagination or wishful thinking. It is the beginning of spiritual awakening, a process that Edgar described as the gradual realization of your soul's purpose. The spiritual path is not reserved for monks, mystics, or those born with special gifts. It is the birthright of every human being. And while this awakening may seem mysterious or overwhelming, it follows predictable patterns that can be understood and navigated with simple, consistent practices. The first key to transformation is recognizing that spiritual awakening is both gradual and inevitable. Just as a seed doesn't become a flower overnight, your consciousness unfolds according to divine timing. But make no mistake, once the process begins, it cannot be stopped, only embraced or resisted. Begin with 5 minutes of silence each morning. Not meditation as you might understand it, but simply sitting with yourself, observing the breath, and allowing whatever thoughts or feelings arise without judgment. This small act creates space in your consciousness, a gap between stimulus and response where spiritual awareness can take root. Next, practice intentional awareness throughout your day. 3 times daily, perhaps at meals or transition periods, pause for 30 seconds and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What energy am I carrying? This simple check-in interrupts unconscious patterns and brings you into present moment awareness, the only place where spiritual transformation can occur. Water seeks its own level, and so does consciousness. Your environment, the people, media, and spaces you inhabit, either elevates or diminishes your vibrational frequency. Begin a gentle but firm process of curating your life. Reduce exposure to negativity, conflict, and fear-based stimuli. Increase connection with nature, uplifting relationships, and information that expands rather than contracts your understanding of reality. The body is not separate from the spirit, but is its physical expression. Simple adjustments to your physical vessel create profound shifts in consciousness. Reduce or eliminate substances that dull awareness, processed foods, excess alcohol, recreational drugs. Increase intake of living foods, pure water, and natural sunlight. The body has its own intelligence that, when respected, becomes an ally in spiritual development. Many seekers make the mistake of focusing exclusively on extraordinary experiences, visions, synchronicities, or dramatic insights. While these experiences may occur, sustainable transformation happens in the ordinary moments of life when you bring extraordinary awareness to them. Washing dishes with complete presence creates more spiritual momentum than distracted meditation. The mind creates filters through which you experience reality. These filters, beliefs, judgments, expectations, were largely installed before you had conscious choice. Spiritual development requires examining and updating these filters. Each evening, write down one belief that limited you today and ask, is this actually true? What might be more true? This simple practice gradually dissolves mental barriers to higher awareness. Emotions carry important spiritual information. Rather than suppressing or indulging difficult emotions, learn to witness them with compassionate curiosity. When sadness, anger, or fear arise, breathe into the feeling in your body without the storyline your mind creates about it. This emotional alchemy transforms dense energy into spiritual intelligence. The external world mirrors your internal state. When you encounter challenges, ask, what part of me is being reflected here? What is this teaching me? Viewing life as your spiritual curriculum removes the victim mentality that blocks awakening. Remember that spiritual development is not linear, but spiral. You will revisit old patterns at deeper levels. This is not failure, but integration. Each time you consciously navigate a familiar challenge, you dissolve more of its hold on your consciousness. Finally, trust the process. The universe has a perfect timing and intelligence that exceeds your limited perspective. What seems like an obstacle or delay is often divine protection or preparation. Surrender to this greater wisdom while maintaining disciplined practice. The greatest obstacle to spiritual transformation isn't lack of knowledge, but overthinking the process. The truth is that spirituality, at its core, is remarkably simple. It's our intellectual minds that complicate it. You don't need elaborate rituals, sacred texts in ancient languages, or decades of study to awaken. You need only to recognize and align with the spiritual forces already operating in your life. Begin with this foundational understanding. Spirituality isn't something you acquire, but something you uncover. Like a radio receiver tuning to frequencies that have always existed in the airwaves, your practices don't create spiritual reality. They align you with what's already there. This perspective removes the pressure of doing spirituality correctly and replaces it with gentle curiosity about what already exists within and around you. The simplest spiritual practice is attention. Where you place your attention, energy follows. Most people scatter their attention across countless distractions, diluting their spiritual power. For the next 30 days, practice concentrated attention on one thing at a time. When eating, just eat. When listening, just listen. When walking, just walk. This isn't about perfection, but about gently returning to presence whenever you notice yourself drifting. This single practice will begin reshaping your neural pathways within weeks. Your physical environment directly impacts your spiritual receptivity. Clear physical space to create energetic space. Choose one area of your home, even a small corner, and transform it into a sanctuary. Remove clutter, add elements that uplift you, perhaps a candle, a meaningful object, or a comfortable cushion, and spend time there daily. This creates a vibrational anchor point that gradually extends throughout your life. The breath connects body and spirit, conscious and unconscious mind. 3 times daily, practice this simple breathing technique. Inhale for 4 counts through the nose, hold for 7 counts, exhale for 8 counts through the mouth. 6 repetitions take only a few minutes but reset your nervous system from stress response to receptive awareness, the state where spiritual insights naturally arise. Many seekers become discouraged because they expect dramatic experiences. While these may occur, sustainable awakening happens through subtle shifts in perception. Begin noticing the ordinary miracles, the perfect timing of a needed message, the way light plays on water, the intricate design of a leaf. This appreciative awareness gradually attunes you to the spiritual dimension underlying physical reality. Water is not just physical sustenance, but a powerful conductor of spiritual energy. Start each day by drinking a glass of water while holding an intention for clarity and receptivity. As you drink, imagine the water carrying this intention to every cell in your body. This simple ritual creates both physiological and energetic preparation for spiritual expansion. Sound has been used in every spiritual tradition to shift consciousness. You don't need special training to benefit from this modality. Experiment with humming a single tone for 3 minutes daily. Feel the vibration in your chest and throat. Notice how this simple practice centers your energy and quiets mental chatter. Sound bypasses the analytical mind, creating direct access to spiritual awareness. Many beginning seekers believe they must meditate for hours to make progress. In reality, consistency matters more than duration. 5 minutes of full presence daily creates more transformation than occasional hour-long sessions. Set a timer, sit comfortably, and simply observe your experience without trying to control it. When thoughts come, and they will, gently return to awareness of your breath or body. This builds the spiritual muscle of witnessing consciousness. Dreams provide direct access to spiritual intelligence. Keep a notebook by your bed and write down any dream fragments you remember upon waking. Don't worry about interpretation initially, simply recording dream signals to your subconscious that you're listening. Within weeks, your dream recall will improve and guidance will begin flowing through this natural channel. Nature accelerates spiritual awakening. Spend time outdoors daily, even briefly. Remove shoes when possible to make direct contact with the earth. This grounding practice balances your energy field and connects you to the planet's natural rhythms. Urban environments create electromagnetic fields that can disrupt spiritual receptivity. Nature resets this disruption. Release the idea that spirituality requires special knowledge or vocabulary. The most profound truths can be expressed in simple language. Trust your direct experience rather than adopting others' interpretations. When you encounter spiritual teachings, ask, does this resonate with my deeper knowing? This discernment builds your intuitive compass. Emotions are energy in motion. When difficult emotions arise, resist the urge to suppress or analyze them. Instead, locate the feeling in your body. Breathe into that area and silently ask, what message do you have for me? Then listen without judgment. This dialogue with your emotional body unlocks wisdom and prevents energetic stagnation that blocks spiritual growth. Remember that the spiritual path isn't about becoming someone new, but about returning to your authentic self. You don't need to adopt special behaviors or appearances. True spirituality enhances, rather than diminishes, your unique expression in the world. As you progress, you'll find yourself becoming more authentically yourself, not less. The most profound spiritual truth is also the most overlooked. You are not separate from the divine. This separation is an illusion, a convincing one that creates suffering, but an illusion nonetheless. The 6-month journey ahead isn't about becoming spiritual, but about remembering what you already are. As Edgar taught, the soul remembers all things, but the conscious mind has forgotten. Your soul, your true essence beyond personality, conditioning, and temporal identity, exists in perfect wholeness. It has never been damaged, diminished, or disconnected from source energy. What appears as spiritual growth is actually the progressive clearing away of illusions that obscure this fundamental reality. This understanding transforms spiritual practice from striving to allowing, from seeking to revealing. The greatest barrier to soul reconnection is mental identification. You have mistaken your thoughts for your identity. Begin noticing the difference between the thinker and the thoughts, between the experiencer and the experience. When a thought arises, ask, who is aware of this thought? This simple inquiry creates space between identification and awareness, the doorway through which soul consciousness enters. Intuition is the language of the soul. Unlike the analytical mind that processes information sequentially and logically, intuition delivers complete knowing in instantaneous packets of understanding. To strengthen this faculty, practice honoring intuitive impressions without demanding immediate rational explanation. When you receive an intuitive nudge, act on it when possible, even in small matters. This builds the neural pathways for receiving deeper guidance. The body holds wisdom the mind cannot access. Implement a daily practice of body scanning, 5 minutes of moving your attention systematically from feet to head, noticing sensations without judgment. Areas of tension, numbness, or discomfort often contain subconscious material blocking soul connection. Simply bringing awareness to these areas begins the release process, creating space for soul energy to flow more freely. Universal signs and synchronicities surround you constantly, but recognition requires attention. Begin documenting meaningful coincidences, recurring symbols and patterns in your experience. After 30 days of this practice, review your notes to identify themes. These themes reveal the specific soul curriculum you're currently navigating and provide guidance for next steps on your path. Many spiritual seekers focus exclusively on ascending energy, moving up and out of the body into expanded consciousness. While important, this approach alone creates imbalance. True soul reconnection requires equal attention to descending energy, bringing spirit fully into matter, anchoring higher awareness in physical reality. Practice grounding meditations that visualize roots extending from your body into the earth, creating a complete circuit of energy. The quantum field responds not to what you think, but to what you feel. Emotions generate electromagnetic frequencies that interact directly with universal intelligence. Spend time daily cultivating emotions that align with your spiritual intentions, not by forcing feelings, but by recalling memories or imagining scenarios that naturally evoke these states. This emotional coherence creates the vibrational conditions for soul remembering. Language both reflects and shapes consciousness. Notice words and phrases that reinforce separation consciousness. I have to, I need to, I should. Replace these with language that acknowledges choice and agency. I choose to, I get to, I prefer to. This subtle shift disrupts victim patterns that block soul expression and reinstates your role as conscious creator of your experience. The external world provides continuous feedback about your internal state. When triggering situations arise, pause before reacting. Ask, what unhealed aspect of myself is being activated here? Then breathe into the discomfort without judgment. This practice transforms triggering moments from spiritual obstacles into opportunities for integration and healing. Ancient memories reside in your cellular structure, experiences from this lifetime and beyond that shape your current perceptions. These memories can be accessed through somatic awareness. When unexplained emotional patterns arise, bring attention to bodily sensations while asking, what does this feeling remember that my conscious mind has forgotten? Allow images, impressions, or understandings to emerge without analysis or expectation. Dream states offer direct access to soul wisdom. Before sleeping, set an intention to receive guidance about your spiritual path. Keep writing materials nearby to record insights upon waking. Dreams communicate through symbol and metaphor rather than literal messages. Look for emotional themes and resonant images rather than seeking exact instructions. Over time, you'll develop fluency in your personal dream language. Service accelerates soul reconnection. Find ways to contribute that align with your authentic gifts, rather than adopting prescribed forms of service. When you serve from genuine inspiration rather than obligation, you activate soul frequencies that remain dormant in self-focused spiritual practices. The goal isn't perfection, but participation in the flow of giving and receiving that constitutes universal harmony. The highest form of spiritual practice is presence, not an extraordinary state, but extraordinary attention to ordinary moments. Practice 1-minute intervals of complete presence throughout your day, fully experiencing sensory input, emotions, and thoughts without getting lost in mental commentary. These brief moments of pure awareness accumulate, gradually shifting your default consciousness from fragmentation to wholeness. Spiritual awakening often includes periods of disorientation as old structures dissolve before new understanding consolidates. During these transitions, simplify external commitments when possible. Increase rest, reduce stimulation, and trust the intelligence of the process. What feels like regression or confusion is often necessary recalibration as your system integrates higher frequencies of awareness. The 6-month journey culminates not in arrival, but in recognition. The lived understanding that spiritual transformation isn't about becoming something other than what you are, but about embodying your true nature more completely. As your awareness expands, paradoxically, your experience becomes simpler, more direct, and more intimately connected with the present moment, the only place where the soul and the eternal now intersect. Remember that awakening isn't measured by extraordinary experiences, but by your capacity to bring love, presence, and wisdom to ordinary circumstances. The true evidence of spiritual transformation is not how high you can soar in peak moments, but how fully you can remain awake in the valleys of everyday human experience. If these teachings have resonated with your spirit, take a moment now to subscribe to this channel. Your spiritual journey doesn't have to be walked alone. Join our community of seekers by hitting the subscribe button below. Share your own awakening experiences in the comments. What resonated most deeply with you today? Which practice will you begin implementing in your life? Your insights might be exactly what another soul needs to hear right now. Remember, as Edgar taught us, we are all connected in this journey of remembrance. Subscribe, comment, and let's continue this sacred conversation together.